What's up, Dreamer Tribe? What's up, world? I am Bianca, and this is my channel. For today, I will be giving you guys tips and tricks as well as things that are not really tackled in the game Little Dragon's Cafe. Now, I'm playing this on the Nintendo Switch, but I'm using my PS4 controller, and I'm only able to do that because I have set this up to be usable for the Nintendo Switch. Now, if you guys are interested in how you can use your PlayStation 4 and PS3 controllers with the Nintendo Switch to save yourselves money, then just click on the title card right here. It will directly link you to the video of me explaining how to use this with your Nintendo Switch. It's a tutorial for using your PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 controllers on the Nintendo Switch. So a little bit of a disclaimer before we begin. Since I'm playing this on the Nintendo Switch, the buttons may be a bit different, but the general idea of how to do some of these tips and these tricks are basically the same. Also, I'm gonna be avoiding spoilers in this video just because the story is an important part, an integral part of the game. And also, another disclaimer, I will not be repeating the other tips I have already shared with you guys on my previous Little Dragons Cafe video, which I will also link in the description below. Having said that, let's begin with the actual tips and tricks for this game, Little Dragons Cafe. Okay guys, so before the actual tips part, a little bit of a heads up here. I will be using a save file that is right at the middle of the entire game's story. It's currently on chapter 8. And the reason for that is because that at that point a lot of the areas in the game has been made available for us the players. That's because on chapter 8 we already have an adolescent dragon that could fly and could dive and could do a lot of other things that would be useful for this tutorial. But having said that, however, it doesn't mean that you need an adolescent dragon to do a couple of the tips here. I'm only using the save file because it makes traveling faster, and again because the areas we already have at this point of the story has been unlocked, and we can travel a whole lot of different areas and obtain different items. So I'm picking that particular save point. Alright, let's begin with the first tip. Now, this one is pretty basic, but it's something that many people nonetheless forget to do. The game seldom tells you what you're supposed to do, and often players can get confused on what to do next, where to go next, and the solution to that is by opening the main menu and clicking on the story tab. Now, this will show us the hints of what we're supposed to do next, or where we're supposed to go, or where to find certain items. And this is pretty useful, especially if you guys don't want to waste time roaming around, wondering where to go, and generally just wasting time. So, my ideal way of playing Little Dragons Cafe is that every time a cutscene ends, I go to the main menu and open up the story tab just to know where I'm supposed to go next and not waste time guessing where to find items, what particular time of day I should check the cafe, and stuff like that. It's a pretty useful thing to remember, but it's something at the same time most people tend to take for granted. Alright, so my second tip is actually one of the most interesting ones I have on this list because it's something that I just happened to come across with, and it revolves around hunting wild animals for the ingredients that they drop. Now, this particular trick you can actually do at the beginning of the game when this area has finally been unlocked to you. It's the second area and it has the Zukidon animals or monsters. Now, the easiest way to hunt these things is to just let them ram on the large boulders or the rock outcrops that are dotted on the map. It's much more quicker than ordering your dragon to hunt, and especially much more easier with your dragon once you're able to ride your dragon. As you can see, them bumping on the boulders, the rocks, easily damages these Zukidon monsters, and you can easily get meat from them. I first I thought that this is just some sort of bug that the developers didn't really intend for this to happen, but then I noticed that these outcrops or formations, you can actually go through the middle of them. It's like they were made perfectly for to do something like this. Similarly, there is also a trick you can do to easily kill the yaki birds, these flying things, and it involves you using your dragon to glide at them rather than jumping, just using your character and just jumping at them. Since the wingspan of your dragon is pretty wide, the dragon actually has a wide berth, so it can easily take down two, even three yaki birds at the same time, which saves you a lot of headache from the buggy jumping mechanics of the game, as well as time that you can actually use for something else or to gather something else. Of course, you can try jumping at them, but again, the jumping mechanics in this game is pretty buggy. It hasn't been fixed yet, and I don't think it will be fixed anytime soon. So this trick is really useful. It's not just useful for the smaller enemies or the small animals that you hunt. You can actually use this trick as well for the larger versions of the Zukidon and the Yaki bird. As you can see here, we have another one of those rock formations, and over there is a large Zukidon. So what I do in this particular plateau is that I let the Zukidon come after me and then move out of the way just in time for him to hit the rock outcrop, and that gives me an instant kill for the Zukidon, for the large Zukidon. Also, another trick you can do is ride your dragon, let it fly, and then just drop behind an enemy. That way, you can sneak up to it and hunt it without having to worry about it noticing you. Alright, for our next tip, we're gonna be talking about the restaurant or the cafe as well as your customers' satisfaction. Now, each customer has their own preference, which you can find out when you talk to them. Now, sometimes they don't come out saying what it is they want, but just keep talking to them and they will inform you of it eventually. Also, when you get far into the game, like chapter 8 here, you can see that even as late as it is already, there are a lot of customers still. Now, as the game progresses, you will get more and more customers for the cafe to the point where you can't let your staff go slacking. So, whenever you see your staff slacking, quickly speak with them so that they can return to their work. Also, be mindful of the path you take around the cafe, especially when there are a lot of customers, because if you happen to bump into any one of your staff, they can push you around, and it can take quite a bit of time before you can go right back to controlling your character. As you can see, your avatar can easily be pushed around by the other staff members. So just pick a route and stay away from them if possible, unless you want to talk with them. Also, since each customer has their own food preference, after speaking with them, it is best to update your menu to accommodate for their preferences. What I do in my playthrough is that I speak with whomever is the current guest in the inn, like the story quest guests, not just the random NPCs. And then when they tell me what it is they want, in their food, like if they want salt, what taste they want, if they like salty, bitter, sweet, or sour, I would update my menu to accommodate what it is that they prefer. That way, my cafe's reputation will go up faster than if I just let whatever food is already on the menu just stay as it is. Another thing about updating your menu is that don't wait for your ingredients to run out. Like if there isn't game notification that states that you are already running out of ingredients, quickly change those menu items out and put a different one in. Now you can quickly check what ingredients you are using on a particular dish by pressing the Y button on the Pro Controller or on the Nintendo Joy-Con. And that way you can easily see which ingredients you're running out of and also check which you have a lot of. Now, what I do in my playthrough is that I quickly put aside whatever dish is running out of ingredients and then pick the one that has the most ingredients so that I could collect more ingredients for whatever I am running out of. That way, I would not lose any customers because of there not being enough ingredients for the food that they are ordering, because that tends to happen further into the game, especially when there are a lot of customers, and that could decrease your cafe's reputation, and that could take quite a while before you could get that reputation back. Now, the fourth tip that I'm going to be sharing revolves around a special item that can be found in Little Dragon's Cafe, and that is the manure item. Now, when your dragon is still young, you could find the manure item in this spot here. Now, as your dragon grows larger and grows older, the cafe will grow along with him. Now, your dragon won't stay there forever, and when it grows, the cafe grows along with it, and it will change its living space from the second floor to the fourth floor, which you can get to by climbing the ladder on the third floor, and you can find the manure on the round bed over here. Now, the manure item is pretty useful, especially if you want to gain a lot of items quickly. And for my playthrough, I use it mostly on the garden. The reason behind that is that you can harvest more from the garden than if you simply use the manure item on the random bushes, the rock formations, as well as the trees. That is because whatever you have harvested previously, you can get it from the garden. So what I do is that I use two of the manure items on the garden and use whatever I have remaining on the fish hatchery, which also works the same way as the garden, but only for the fishes that you have caught before. So my next tip deals with perhaps the most asked about question regarding the game, and that is the dragon's color. Now, the dragon, or my dragon, as you can see, is colored black. Originally, it was red, but I managed to change its color by feeding it dishes with the black dragon color mark. Now, each dish has its own dragon color, so all you have to do if you want to change your dragon's color is feed your dragon with that dish that has the particular color that you want 4 times. Now, it has to be on 4 separate days at the minimum. Now, there are 6 colors available for your dragon. There's the red, green, blue, black, white, and purple. Now, there are no dishes that provide a purple dragon color. But you can get color combinations by alternative feeding between two colored foods. If you start with a red dragon, for instance, feed it blue food items. Then when you get the violet color, switch between red and blue each time you feed it. Alternatively, you can feed your dragon non-colored items to keep whatever color it has already. My next tip revolves around one of the many activities you can do in Little Dragon's Cafe, and that is fishing. In LDC, or Little Dragon's Cafe, there are a lot of fishing spots that dot the entirety of the island in which the entire story takes place. Now, each fishing spot offers different kinds of fish, and it is essential to first complete whatever fish lineup each fishing spot offers so that your fishing hatchery will be able to produce them. Now, it's quite difficult to spot these fishing spots, but there is a telltale sign that is far more convenient than the sparkly fish are swimming in the water visuals we have in the game. Now, fishing spots are pretty obvious in LDC, especially if you know what to look out for. Now, each fishing spot can be denoted even when you're flying up high by these dirt patches. Now, each fishing spot has these, except those that are extremely hidden, like those on beaches. So I will be showing you guys some of the fishing spots that are available in the game. Now, some of these spots you will have to be able to use your dragon flight ability. Others you would have to have been able to push the boulders to make a path using a child dragon's dragon push ability. My seventh tip is again something the game doesn't inform us about, and it has something to do with the amount of time we can spend in a day. Now, if you have been playing the game, you will notice that the cafe closes at 10 p.m., but that doesn't mean that that is our character's actual bedtime. We can actually explore as much as we want, even going past midnight. Now, the only thing that will happen once the clock strikes 12 in game is that we will get a daily report in regards to what has happened in the cafe. Upon closing that window, however, we are once again free to explore the entire island and the other areas that have been unlocked to our heart's content. The only time we will be penalized in doing so is if we do not get back to the cafe and sleep before 6 a.m. If you are unable to return by that time, however, you will be forcefully put to bed and will awaken at around 7 a.m. in game. Which, if you think about it, isn't really a bad trade off. Apart from that, there aren't any real side effects or consequences to staying up late in this game. The final tip I have for you guys in this video is again something that the game fails to tell us or even hint at. And this has something to do with our dragon's stamina. Now, the game only tells us that the dragon's stamina can be refilled in two ways: via dishes that we feed the dragon and by petting. There is, however, another option for which we can feed our dragon, and that option is made available once you're able to fly on your dragon. Now, there are critters around the areas that can refill your dragon's stamina if your dragon gets close to it. Those include those white, fluffy insects, as well as the ground insects that look like dragonflies that fly away once you get near them. Now, replenishing your dragon's stamina via eating these insects saves you a lot of time. However, I don't think that it provides you with enough nourishment for your dragon for it to be able to produce the dragon manure for your garden or hatcheries. Another thing to note is that those red insects on the ground gives much more stamina refills than the flying fluffy insects. So those are the additional 8 tips I have for you guys for LDC or Little Dragons Cafe. I hope it proves useful to everyone who is playing the game and for those who are wondering whether they should pick this game up. So if you guys found this video to be helpful, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Also, if you have other tips, if you have questions, don't hesitate to use the comment section below. Again, thank you all for watching. I have tons of more videos coming out this week, so if you want to be notified whenever those comes out, please do click on the bell icon to get notifications and be part of our notification squad. Until the next video, as always, dream on, fly on.